Hello there, well it's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee, and today we're going to make a tablet sleeping bag. Now this tablet has already got its case on and yeah, it's all ready to go, except for it would be nice to have a sleeping bag. Now what I've got is 2 layers of fleece here. I've got the right side to the right side before I'm cutting, so just to make life a little bit easier for me. And what I want to do is I want to make one panel, and then I want to make another panel, but I want the second panel to be slightly longer. Okay, so the first job is, now I'm finding fleece really hard to cut today, so these scissors are really sharp. They're my crafting scissors, so you know, I don't see why I'm having such problems, but you have to forgive me, and well, I just have to make do, don't I, really? It's my own problem. I also need a little strap for the envelope of the sleeping bag, as it were. Right, I'm going to get that out of the way, because I know what size it is. It's just bigger than one panel, or 2 panels, so, of the pattern. But this is going on the inside, which it does seem a bit of a shame, because it is quite cute. If I just get rid of all this excess, I'll be well away. Okay, so what I'm doing is I've cut the extra and I'm continuing to cut along that line, and then when I get to the end I'm going to cut off that extra and use that as my strap. So okay, so, and I'm being careful not to cut the table lining as well. I'm making a right hash of this, aren't I? But we can soon get on with our sewing. So, what I'm left with is 2 squares. Okay, that's for my strap, and then these are for the main body. Now, because we've taken the time to cut it the right way round, all we have to do is we have to mark out on here how far we want the curb to go down. I'm just going to mark that like that. I'm going to get rid of all this excess material. I'm sitting here going, oh, it's quite warm in here today. It's because I'm buried under 3 meters of fleece. Okay, so a nice small stitch and a couple of reverse stitches so that it's the same height that we're starting, and then we're curving round. I am going to get rid of these corners. I'm going to trim them off, but because of yeah, just because. And the other one, I'm just going to go straight across the top. I'm going to leave that a nice flat surface. So reverse stitch off the first one, and then I can just sew straight onto this second one. Couple of reverse stitches. It's going to be a seam that has a lot of wear, so nice small stitches, and this is a stretch fabric as well. So what I don't want is for to be able to pull it apart. So I'm using a nice strong thread as well. Now, for the strap that holds the envelope lid in, I'm going to sew down one side, and I'm just using 1/4 inch hem. I'm not using much at all. And I think if you're not happy using that much, what you could do is you could sew 1/2 inch hem and then trim it. Now, because of the way the sewing machines work, this coloured one is slightly longer than the navy one. So all I'm doing is sewing on the coloured bit there. You could take it out of the sewing machine and start sewing again, but if you sew right across the top then, we're going to get quite a lumpy seam. So again, a couple of reverse stitches. We want it nice and strong. Let's get rid of that and let's pull the thread through so we don't unthread it. There we are. And I can trim all these bits off. Okay, turning this inside out should be easy because it's a stretch fabric and it's not going to fray. That's the best thing about fleece. So I folded the top over. I'm going to get the soft end of a pencil and then just push it through, and you can see it goes through no problem at all. And if I had sewn up the two ends there, I would have quite a nasty clump, and I really don't want that. Alright, so I've got my other bits. Now, when you're sewing things like this, half the problem is the construction of it. So, there's my small side. Here's my larger side, and I'm going to pop out those corners because I did them as a sort of soft roll. And I need to decide whether I want the pattern on the inside or the outside. Now, I quite like the pattern. I think it's quite funky. So, if I want the pattern on the outside, then I'm going to need to place it inside out. This is because I want to do the turning around seam on the blue. It does make sense to me. So we've got them the right way round, but we've got the blue one facing out. I'm going to need to stitch in this strap to hold the envelope over. So I'm going to need to place it on the outside, and I want the blue side facing so that it's nice and contrasted. So that's now all in position. But to get it so that the seams are on the inside rather than just on the inside but all tucked in neatly, I'm then going to pull the bottom layer over. Now, if I then line up my cut seams there where I sewed first of all, and I want this quite close to the top, so I'm going to put that there. And then the other side I need to make sure. But I need to make sure that these four seams and that strap are quite nice and neat. Okay, so what am I sewing through now? Haha, let's have a little think. I could even count them for you. I've got the 4 layers of the main body, plus the seams, plus the 2 layers of the strap and their seams. But fleece is like sewing butter, it really is. It doesn't mind at all, so it does mind when you do that, but then I'll just change my needle quickly. Did I break the needle? I did. Hello, welcome back. So we're all set up to go. And we have all our layers in the right place. Always a good idea just to double check. You take it out of the sewing machine, isn't it? So all I need to do is I need to sew all these 4 pieces of fabric and the strap. One thing I would say is always make sure that your foot is down because it won't engage the bobbin, and sometimes you can put more fabric in there but you lower the foot and it doesn't have anywhere to go. But you do have to make that conscious effort to lower that foot. Alright, because it is easier to sew a turn the inside out bit on the straight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sew 2 inches. I'm going to stop, I'm going to pull the thread through, and then I'm going to start again. Now this means that I've got the hole to turn it inside out and that it's all ready to go. So just get all my bits straight before I start. Away I go. And if the sewing machine has pushed the fleece slightly, because it does, it pushes the top layer out of the way, then I can just adjust it. And I can feel it through my fingers, so that if it is not quite lined up, then I know that I can feel that all four are this far in, but the outer two, slightly larger cut, are maybe in a bit more. Now, all I need to do is sew up to the end, but before I come off, I have to also make sure that that's all in place, so the strap, that is. Now, whilst I was adjusting it, I did chop off the corners. This is just to make it lie flatter. And again, I can tidy up that bottom seam as well, because that was just literally where my scissors were saying they are now blunt from all that Christmas wrapping paper. And using the stitches as a guide, it's quite easy. So, but yeah. Yes, it's a case of do as I say rather than do as I do. If you want your sewing to be clean and sharp, then it's probably best if you keep your cutting out sharp as well. So, okay, going to pop it round the right way round, and it's just ping out. Oh, there we go. Now, what I've got is the finished article, but inside out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pop those corners again, and you can do this by hand or you can do this on the sewing machine. What I need to do is I need to take out this seam, this is the lining, and pull it flat as possible and then sew along there. And it is just sort of laziness. I could have done it by hand. So again, you heard the foot clip down, but the foot didn't move. All I'm doing is running a couple of stitches along the two inner linings. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push those stitches right out of the way, and then I'm just going to top stitch on the hole on the blue. And of course this would look loads better if we hand sewed. What am I doing? Okay, so there we go, top stitching as close to the edge as possible, and there we are. So all I need to do now is take it out of the sewing machine. I'm just going to trim those ends now. Get rid of the sewing machine, grab it at the bottom and pull it round the right way, and there we are, our little tablet sleeping bag. And just place the tablet in there, and we've got a little envelope top, just enough to give it a bit of protection because it's already in a case, but it's just all sorted. So ready for Christmas presents. And of course, because we hand sewed the bottom of the lining, they have a choice of whether they want to go for the blue on the outside or they want to have the little puppy dogs on the outside. Okay, thank you ever so much for watching. My name's Fiona from Weekly Sewing Bee.